I'm going to be talking to David Van Assem, who is the Director of Clean Technology and Climate Change Innovation at Alberta Innovates, about a new competition around to advance hydrogen in Alberta. So, welcome to the interview, David.
Thank you.
Now, this is interesting. Hydrogen is kind of it's popular, it's flavor of the month, it's the fuel of the future. What is Alberta Innovates? Maybe just if you could give us an overview of the competition first, please.
Okay, I can do that. So the Hydrogen Center of Excellence was set up through some funding provided by the provincial government to help advance hydrogen and include it in part of the energy system. And the call itself is focused on advancing hydrogen technologies that are between that bench scale proof of concept level and field pilot level. And so we will have $20 million available to be put towards projects that will be spent over the next 24 months. And we'll be looking at advancing hydrogen technologies through production, storage, use, transmission, the whole value spectrum.
Is this funding, David, is it intended to get these new technologies through the valley of death, that awkward spot where you're not quite ready for a pilot or a demonstration project, you can't attract private capital?
That's exactly right, Markham. That's a lot of where Alberta Innovates focuses its funding support is to help companies get through that valley of death. So we like to support promising technologies in a wide array of areas, not just hydrogen, to get across there into that field pilot through commercial stage.
And I've noticed over the last, I don't know how many years now, but the idea of competition and challenges is something that you're doing a lot of. You're doing it in carbon fiber, and if I thought about it hard, I could probably come up with a couple of others. Why have you chosen that model?
Well, we're anticipating that there's going to be quite a lot of interest in in companies accessing some of these funds. So it's an efficient way to help companies move through the system quickly and effectively, is to have it all done as a batch, basically. We have all the resources set aside, all the folks ready to do the reviews and make things happen. And we can just progress a lot of projects. And we see that with not just within Alberta Innovates, but a number of other funding organizations regularly do a similar structure.
Now, let's talk about some of the areas in which the proponents might be working: hydrogen production, storage, transmission, end use, increased competitiveness, economic diversification. For technologies per se, it seems like, there's a lot of this out there. Electrolyzers have been around to produce green hydrogen for a long time. There's a lot of development going on in other areas. Steam reform, methane for turning natural gas into hydrogen has been around for a long time. Is there really anything that Alberta innovators can bring to the table that isn't being done somewhere else?
Well, that's a great question. And there certainly is a lot of activity happening in the province and in the technology development side of things in particular. So yes, you're right. We do have a lot of established technologies, but there's also a lot of newer technologies, next generation versions of hydrogen supports from across the value chain that need to get developed to improve the economics, improve the efficiency, do things better than what we're currently able to do, whether that's pipeline metallurgy through to novel methods of production, novel methods of carbon capture and sequestration from hydrogen production. There's always lots of opportunity for new things.
So if we're setting up an industry, to produce hydrogen at scale, and then use it for things like, to export it, to use it for storage in the electricity system, those sorts, then I guess a lot of that technology has to be adapted to specific regional or provincial requirements. Is that part of it?
Well, yes, there's each region has its own its own drivers, its own strengths. And so we're playing to Alberta's strengths with a lot of the technologies that we're supporting, but to recognize that there's always lots of room to grow. And Alberta, as big as it is there's bigger markets available for companies to export their expertise and technologies outside of the province. So I'd say we want to keep this competition open to all interesting technologies that are being developed currently across the value chain.
Who can apply for the grant?
So this funding is available to technology developers, industry, industry associations, small and medium-sized enterprises, entrepreneurs, research and development organizations, post-secondaries, municipalities, not-for-profit organizations, and government research labs. And both ones that are based here in Alberta, but also ones that are outside of Alberta and want to do their testing and development work in Alberta.
And what more can you tell us about the Hydrogen Excellence Center, the Center of Excellence, sorry. What else will it do in addition to funding these kinds of competitions?
Great question. We have two subsidiaries, Initech Alberta and Seaford Technologies, that both do different scales of testing and research and development and deployment work. So they are available for companies to go in and test and advance their particular technology. And we're working with them to help augment their existing facilities for testing hydrogen technologies to be ready for the broader market need that's coming as the whole sector of the economy builds up. So we're helping them invest with some capital to improve the equipment and capabilities. So that's one piece of what else is happening. We're also looking at supporting the non-technology initiatives such as studies, techno-economic studies, market type studies, supporting codes and standards development, those projects related to those kinds of activities, not necessarily technology development. Those are also key pieces of building up the capabilities and again, raising hydrogen as a viable inclusion in the energy system. And we're also working on some education and awareness components as well. So lots of activity outside of just technology development.
Well, David, thank you very much for this. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on the call.